And I'm going to go ahead into here. This is I'm going to look at this coding piece here, and then I'm going to put this reference sheet up over here too. This is the reference sheet that I would go into. I'd have several different pieces here to look at if I needed to look at and understand what was in the string library here. Here are some of the methods that are in the string library. I've got an index of, I've got a replace, a split, substring, and this kind of shows me how these work from a UML diagram to kind of give you the things that you have there, the value of, to get the value of a double or an int based on a string of that same thing to get the value of it out of there. So that kind of piece there. So, okay, we've got this problem here that this was the fall 2015 coding exam. So I'm going to go into here and I'm going to look at this one and let's read through it. Schedule planning. After completing a semester of college, you realize it would be helpful to plan ahead and estimate the workload of future years. However, now that you've taken CS 149, doing simple calculations by hand or even using Excel is not fun anymore. You can't help but think about object-oriented programming solutions for everyday problems. That's probably not going to be the case, but for this exam, we were going to have you create a class from scratch called course. This class must match the UML diagram below. At the end of and during the exam, you will submit your file via AutoLab. You may submit as many times as you like. Only the last submission will be graded, and that is going to be the case for the exam. One example course is CS 149 with prefix CS and number 149. The constructor automatically converts the prefix to all caps. So make sure you note that in there, that your constructor must give all caps to the prefix, and if the number is negative or greater than 999, it should be changed to 0. So you want to have your number be bounded. So that's another piece in the constructor. The equals method returns true if the courses have the same prefix and number unless the number is 0, in which case they are not considered equal. The toString method returns the prefix and number separated by a space and formatted to the 3 digits padded with zeros, CS 005. The workload for a set of courses is measured in points. Lower division courses with numbers below 300 get 2 points. Upper division courses in the 300 to 499 range get 3 points, and graduate courses 500 and above get 4 points. CS and math courses get an extra point. If the schedule has 0 courses or is null, then workload should return -1. So you must write complete documentation, including your class and the name and date. So we'll have you do that, but not much more. You won't need to even write the Java doc piece out, so you can ignore that piece. So for the exam, you will not need to write out the complete Java doc, but it may be helpful for you to kind of write some of this out as you're working on it, just to work through and kind of understand what you're doing, because that Java doc really does help you in a lot of cases to visualize this. So this is the course. We're again taking a UML diagram and we're going to translate this into a Java class. So let's go ahead and open up a class file here. We're going to go file new Java, and we're going to call this public class course. And inside of here, we're going to have some attributes, and we're going to make those here. We're going to have attributes that are, man, cannot type today. This keyboard is really slippery. Attributes. So we're going to have a private, because of that negative sign, string prefix. And we're going to have another private attribute here, an int called number. These are the course number and the course prefix. Then we're going to have our constructor. I might actually go ahead and do this in this way and put a Java doc into here. And I'll just say course. I don't need to fill out all of it, but I would like to do some of it here. So let's go ahead and do this as course constructor. So I know that's what that is. And then I'm actually going to go ahead and do the param prefix, string for course prefix. And I'm going to do @param number int for course number. All right. And there's nothing to return here. So we're just going to go into here and we're going to go public course, and we're returning an object. So we don't want to do static here. We're just going to do public course. We've got, actually, we'll want to do that. Let's go string prefix and int number. And we're going to want to do this as in here, we're going to say this dot prefix equals prefix. And then again, this dot number equals number. So this is our pretty straightforward and standard constructor. I'm not going to do the full portion of the constructor yet. I'm going to note in here though, need to do validation of constructor.
Spelled number wrong.
Of course I did. Thank you. That'll save us some time. All right, so let's save this course. And I'm going to compile this. All right. Then I'm going to probably want to go ahead and create a way to test this. So I'm going to go ahead and go make a main here, and I'm going to create a course in here. Equals new course sub that, and let's go ahead and do that. That's going to create a course in here as an object to test. Then let me go cs149.toString. Let's go and print out the toString. And that's how I can test that to see if it's actually producing the course the way I want it to. Let's do this, and then let's do our methods here. Let's go public string toString. And let's go ahead and figure out what that needs to do. So the toString method here returns the prefix. I'm going to go ahead and do this and copy this into here. I'm actually going to do that so I can see what I need to do with this. This is what I like to do a lot of times, is to just put all of this into here. You may need to watch out because these sometimes copy over as weird special characters though. So you'll want to note if these are in like the educated quotes, like that have the curled in quotes, those copy over poorly sometimes. So make sure you're not doing something like that and then you're hosing yourself for half the class because you did something like that. So what I want to do in here is I want to return the prefix and number separated by a space and formatted to 3 digits padded with zeros. So this is where I need to go back into here and kind of look at my toString piece in here, or my string kind of values. What would I be doing with string values? Let's make sure this reference sheet is the one we're using for here. Yes, okay. And we want to make sure we're looking at the values over here to see how we can kind of format this string. So we want to understand how to add these zeros in here into that. So we might look into a formatting of these strings here. So, and we've done this in a couple of different places where we've done the formatting of the strings. So what we want to do is go ahead and use this string.format. So over here, there would be a .format inside of the string method. If we were to ask you to do something like this in the exam, we would be giving you the .format over here. So be assured that this is not something that we would necessarily be asking you to do, because we would give you anything that you need to have over there. So this particular exam did not use this reference sheet. So you would be fine looking up this piece right here. So let's go ahead and go string return string equals blank. And then let's go ahead and return string equals string dot format for, and we're going to want to go %s This is how we do the %s, and then %03 is how you would do this piece D for your digits here. And then we'll go this dot prefix, comma, and that's going to be the S, and then this dot number. So that's what we're doing there. And then we're going to return string. So again, if we were expecting you to do this formatting business, we would give you the formats in the particular reference sheet. This one is not the one that we used for this particular semester. And I think that semester we did have a reference sheet that did have all that on there. So again, rest assured that if we asked you to do some kind of formatting like that, we would give you this something that had an example of similar kind of formatting, probably with a 02 or something like that as the example, and you would have to do 03. So that's what we would want to do, though, is this kind of formatting. So let's go ahead and compile this, and let's run this, and now we have this CS149. Let's do another one here, Math 1, let's call it course Math 1 equals new course Math, comma 1. And then we'll do a system out print line of this guy and do his toString. Oh, I didn't close out that. Okay. All right. So that's that. And then we've got this, and it's going to give Math 001, and that is how we would want to do that piece there. Okay. So we've now gotten the toString and the course constructor. We now need to work to the next piece. And so this is kind of working through this. Here's what we want to do: write the documentation and the stubs for all of the classes and methods, construct some test cases. So what we would want to really do to begin this is to actually stub out everything. So we would go public and get our equals method here, public, and we've got this Boolean equals, and we would have object VJ. We haven't done a lot with this object type in this semester. So this one would be one where we would probably not have you be doing something quite like this, but I'm going to go ahead and show you this particular piece just so that you'll have this understood for next semester. This object equal kind of piece is making sure that it is an instance of a particular object, and there's a instance of method that you can use to determine if an object that you're passing is a particular type. So that's what we're going to do in here. So let's go ahead and in here, we're going to return false, though. That's just going to be a stub that we put in here. And then we've got this other one, this public int workload. We're going to give a course array called schedule. That's what we pass into that. And then we're going to return a number here. So this is really what we'd want to do, is we'd want to do this whole business here and then kind of compile this. And then let's go ahead and submit this over to AutoLab. So this is what we'd want to do while we're taking the exam, is to go ahead and submit once over to AutoLab, just so that we know that we can submit things fine and that things are working out properly. Let's go ahead and do this. And let's go to my desktop and get my 149 in class. And I'm going to grab this course.java and submit this. And we'll see what we are getting here. So I'm getting 0 points so far because I've got some issues here with several different things. Non-static method workload course. So I need to go create that as a static method here. And this we would have known because over here, this is underlined. So we would need to know that this is static because it's underlined. Go ahead and compile that, and then let's go ahead and resubmit this so that we can actually get some tests to see if things are working. This is the kind of thing that you'll want to do just so that you can kind of see what issues you're running into as you're going along. And that static issue was 1. There you go. Now I've got 10 points. I'm passing a bunch of these items, but I'm not passing, there's a test, no courses in the workload. There's a test upper division courses, all caps for the test. So I haven't done that portion of the constructor here. And then the zero number here, I haven't done all those zero number tests and the other pieces associated with that. So let's go ahead and finish out some of those pieces. Let's go ahead and do this prefix here, and we'll do this as and we'll do the 2 uppercase because we know that over here inside of our reference sheet, we've got the 2 uppercase method here that we can use for getting our prefix into an uppercase format. The other thing we'll want to do in here is do this check for this number. So if we'll want to come into here and do a check if number is, what was the number? If number is less than 0 or number is greater than 999, I think was the piece, then we want to say this dot number equals 0. And so this is the checks here. And then we would want to say else and do this piece here. This dot number equals number. So now we've got that piece checked out. Okay, this is dot 2 uppercase, prefix dot 2 uppercase. That's a capital C there. Now we're able to compile that. Okay, so now we can go resubmit this and see if we can get more points here. And you may want to submit multiple times during the exam. You shouldn't take too much time to be doing overload of submissions, but you definitely do want to see, are you getting further along as you do different things? So I just checked there. Now I'm getting 20 points instead of just the 10. So that was a big jump right there, getting this piece written into that. So that's the next piece. The next piece I want to do is kind of follow into what's the other pieces that I need to do, write and test the first 3 methods, constructor, equals, and toString. So I haven't done my equals method and I need to do that. Let's go ahead and do that one. To do the equals method, I need to come into here and say, in this case, I would do an if obj or not obj instance of, and I'm going to say if it's not an instance of a course, or if it is not a course, then I want to return false. That is not equal. So definitely going to do that as my first check here. Then the other check I want to do here is if this dot number is equal to 0, then we had some other things in there that we wanted to do, and we would return false here as well. And I'm not checking the number of returns in here. So this is going to work here for this. The other thing you could always do is you could have a return is equal, and actually Boolean is equal, and we can have this, and we can say equals false. And then we can say over here is equals false. And is equals false. And we can do out here a return is equal. All right, and then over here we'll do course that or other here, and we can go other equals, and we'll cast this object as a course, and then we're going to return the course item here, and we'll say is equal to this dot prefix dot equals other dot prefix, and this dot number equals that other dot number. So that's the check we want to do here to make sure that these are equal. All right. All right, let's do this again and compile. If, oh, I need to do object instance of course there. Yes, like that.
On line 41, you spelled number wrong again.
Again. Of course I did. All right, there we go. See, what do we have here? Instance of, is that? This is not spelled right here. This is instance of lowercase. Yeah. Oh, come on. Now you can see it's highlighted as a keyword. That's the correct way. Instance of. All right. So now this is working, and this should be working here. I'm going to go ahead and submit this. Let's see if we've got any more points, more than 25. This should be getting us a little bit further towards our 50. Still only 20. So we've got, because now I think we've got everything else other than no courses, upper division, lower division, 0, negative, graduate, and math CS. So these are all now the other course items. So this workload is all that we're dealing with now, is the grading for the workload. So let's go ahead and start to pare down that piece there, the workload. So what we're going to do for this workload is measure in points. Lower division courses with numbers below 300 get 2 points. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to loop through this array of courses here. Let's go and let's create a course array. And we're going to go course, third course equals new course, bio 500. Actually, yeah, let's do that. So we've got an upper division course, we've got a math course, a CS course, and we want a lower division course now. So let's do a course fourth equals new course sub English, and we'll go 132. All right, so we've got a lower division, upper division, and all those others. So let's go ahead and say course array courses, or let's just call it sched equals new array of CS 149, comma math 1, comma third, comma fourth. And we can do that, and that should give us a course array. I don't think that's liking how we're doing that. Oh, I need a new course array. Let's do that. Let's just do this in the easier way then. Sched sub 0 equals CS 149. Angel sub, and let's do a 4 here. We'll just do this way so that we can get this done. Because we know that will work. So let's not mess around with formatting on that. And this is something you should do too. If something's not working, readjust and get into something that you know will work. So for instance, this, and all I'm trying to do here is test this array that I want to pass over there. So if I go now, workload, and I can go int load equals workload sub sched, comma, and I think it's just sched. That's all I'm passing into there. And I'll system And right now my workload is 0 because I'm just returning a 0. All right, so now what I want to do is actually go through here, and then I'm going to say if schedule equal to null or schedule dot length is equal to 0. And this is one you should be comfortable doing now, return -1, because we don't want to return anything if there is an invalid. Either the schedule is pointing to null or we have no length of schedule. Otherwise, I'm going to go int points equals 0. Then I'm going to return points, end of here, and I'm going to go for each course C in schedule. And do this as a for each because I'm going to want to do something with each of these. So I want to handle lower division versus upper. So we'll do this piece here, and we're going to go if course number is less than 300 plus equals 2. That's going to be a lower division course. Then we want to go else if course.number less than 500 plus equals 3, else points plus equals 4. So this is the scale up for how to handle the points. You could also do this with a case statement or some kind of other switch kind of thing in here. There's many ways you can kind of set this out, but this is just one way that's probably going to be pretty straightforward. CS/math courses was the other piece that we had to do in here. If we're looking over here, CS and math courses get an extra point. So we want to go in here and say if course.prefix dot equals CS points plus equals 1. And then if course.prefix.equals math points plus equals 1. And at the end of all of that, we're returning our points here. All right. I think that should be it. Let's see. We're doing wrong here. This needs that. This one will also need that.
I think course needs to be capitalized, but I'm not positive.
No, because this is going to be, oh, sorry, this is C. So I called that C this time here for this particular course. So that's what I sometimes call it course. Sometimes I've called it C. So in this case, it's the C variable here that is the current course that we're working on here. So, all right, so now that is compiling and we are able to get that going. Now let's go ahead and submit this to AutoLab. And I think this should give us the 50 points that we want, or at least close to it. Yeah, 45, all right. So the only thing I'm having here is a 0 or a negative course here. So I would want to figure out why I've got some 0 course kind of scenario that is not passing through properly. Guessing there's some kind of piece that I have neglected to look at that is a 0 course piece, or if the course had 0 points in there. So I would need to make sure I'm covering that particular piece. But at this point, I've gotten 45 out of the 50 points here. So this would be an A at this point. So now I can just kind of come into here to refine those tests and those other pieces to make sure I've got the rest of those points and see if I can get the rest of those points. So I'll leave it as is here. I think this is close enough, and you can kind of figure out the last pieces if you're really wanting to come in here to find out the perfect score here. Test 0 negative is the item that we're missing here. So, and 0 or negative courses is what probably is the item here. So let's try and do this. Let's see what's going on here. If I go let's see if that going to do 12. So that's going to be 12. And over here, our workload is going to be -1, and that should be correct. So let's go ahead and do that. Then let's go ahead and do one where we're going to go course array blank equals new course array. And we'll go okay, so in here, something's going on where it's actually not handling this schedule.length correctly here. So this is one we'd want to come into here to kind of figure out if this schedule has no length here, then we'd want to handle that properly. So that's the piece that we're not handling properly in here. And we'd want to make sure we're handling that correctly. So it looks like that's the piece. And so we may need to split this out a little bit into a null check and then the length check as a separate piece or something like that. But this, for some reason, is not doing that correctly. I think that's what I would really want to do with that. So I'm not sure why it's not checking that. So, but I could keep working on that and see at the end of the day if that is the way that we would want to go. Otherwise, again, I've got an A on it, and I would probably just keep working to see if I could get that refined for the last piece there. All right. Any questions? If not, that's really all I was hoping to cover for class today. So if you have any questions, I'm going to go ahead and stick around on here instead of actually ending this particular call. I've been doing that a lot lately.